Okay, I wanted to talk a little bit about transplantation, some of the challenges as well as the opportunities. When I was 37 years old, I was in surgery and I went into kidney failure. But before that happened, I woke up under anesthetic and could feel the surgeon cutting on me. Um, I was in a coma for nearly a week, and by that time, my kidneys had shut down. And I spent the next 3.5 years on dialysis. Dialysis is very difficult, and if you have a donor to donate to you, that's the best route to go. Okay, so finally one night was 10 to 12, and I got the phone call that we all waited for and went to the hospital, received my transplant after several hours, and to say it was a challenge is an understatement. The drugs that they used 25 years ago, I'm sure, are very different than what they use now. There was a drug called OKT3 that was pretty tough on me. However, things just steadily got better, and I was finally released from the hospital, went home and had a rejection episode, ended up back in the hospital, and they were able to save my kidney, which I was forever grateful for. And for the next several years, I did a lot of service. 2 weeks prior to me going into kidney failure, my mother was diagnosed with terminal cancer, with a rare form of breast cancer that doesn't show up on the mammograms. It's called inflammatory breast cancer. And so we would do dialysis one day and her treatments the next, whether it be radiation or chemo. Well, she lived for about 5.5 years and then passed away. I was with her when she passed away. And after that, my niece was diagnosed with spinal cancer. And so I spent time helping her. She was only 29 years old at the time. About 2 years later, she died from that. And then the sister that I was closest to, she needed a kidney transplant. And so I helped her during that. And her, she was diabetic, which a lot of kidney recipients are. And in that, I was fortunate that I was not diabetic. So anyway, Debbie needed a transplant. They did the transplant, and the day after her surgery, the kidney became disconnected, and they had to take her back in and operate again. I don't think that's a common occurrence, but that was just her luck. Okay, a couple of years down the road, her husband was diagnosed with genetic Alzheimer's, and his mother and sister died from it as well. He lived for a few years, and then uh, while she was caring for him, her diabetes got really out of control. It had never been in great control, but then it really went bad. Then she ended up having to have a leg amputated, ended up with diabetic dementia. And I was spending a lot of time helping her, and finally it came to the point I had to put her in a care center when she could not learn to walk on a prosthesis. That was very difficult to do. Not something I ever wanted any of my family members to have to go through. After that, I began having lung problems. And also in between this, I started having heart issues. One part of the heart had bradycardia, which was a slow heartbeat, and the bottom part of the heart developed tachycardia, which is a fast heartbeat, which required a pacemaker. Since that time, I've had 4 pacemakers. I have to tell you that my first year after transplant, was the best I ever felt. Great, you could go with your friends and your family. Something I had not really ever experienced. Now, I needed to move. Someone was causing a lot of harm to my health, and so I needed to move out of the neighborhood. Since that time, I have not been able to find another home in Utah. And I will say Utah has the best medical care. The top specialists are there. So I ended up, because I couldn't find a home there, moving to Idaho. So I get here, get established with doctors here, and they tell me, you need to go back to Utah. We cannot provide you with the type of medical care here that you need there. So, word of warning, if you're leaving a state that's well known for transplantation, do everything you can to avoid leaving the state. So now I'm trying to move back to Utah, and I'm finding that because a lot of people have come from other states since we had the Olympics there, there's not a lot of affordable housing. And even with all the homes being built, they're still short on housing. So I'm sending out a personal plea. If anyone knows of anything affordable, to contact me. Because I was only 37 when I went into kidney failure, I had to go on disability very young. I do have some equity, but still it needs to be a limited, somewhere between 150 and 160,000. And so far, everything I find is trash that's in that crack. So since the realtors haven't been able to help me, I thought I need to take this on myself and see if someone else knows anything. So I'm reaching out and asking if anybody knows of any homes that would be affordable. My one wish is to live the remainder of my life in peace as much as I can. None of us ever have perfect peace, but right now I have outlived everyone in my family, and even aunts and uncles didn't live to be, most of them, to my age. And so I figure there's still something for me to do if I'm still here. And I would also like to put out an offer that if anyone wants to talk about dialysis or transplant issues, or I can help you with the diet, feel free to contact me. It's really important to listen to what your doctors have to say. And I even found a support group helpful while I was on dialysis. However, if I would make one caution, it would be to talk to the patients who have been through it first. They can give you a lot of information that you will not get in those meetings to see if you qualify for transplant. The more knowledge you have, the more power you have. So I guess my message is twofold. Be fully aware of what you're doing. Know that you have a place to go to if you have questions, because I'm happy to talk to you about it. But also, if anyone can help me find an affordable home in Utah, I would love to hear from you. Thank you for your time.